Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. Call halal Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors once again go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who continue to teach us His truth through the Holy Spirit. This is Naaman with the DC camp, and salutations to the Akim out there around four corners, pushing this truth with all honesty and sincerity. All right. Hey, time's growing short. All right. So continuing with the second part, this is prominent Americans you assumed were white. All right, and he's going into this. The site here is called Straight Up, and he has some very interesting videos concerning these topics. All right, and this is exposing once again all the lies of our oppressor, the nation of Edom, the so-called white people. All right, they're continuing to try to run from the truth that they are nothing but liars, murderers, thieves. All right, and this is how they got everything, either by the sword and deceit, or both. And in most cases, it is both. All right. So let's continue. He's just starting with Chief Justice John Marshall, just finished with Daniel Webster, all right, who was known when he was growing up as Little Black Dan. And he made a point that these pictures that you see of these individuals don't match up to what's written about them in other literature. So you have to wonder. All right, here we go.
And that would be Supreme Court Chief Justice John Marshall. Now, I realize that we were all taught that Thurgood Marshall was the first black Supreme Court Justice. Well, we were all fooled again. And when I say all, I mean most of us. Of course, this information is available, but you have to know what keywords to pay attention to.
Yeah, because of all the lies, you will have these Edomites, these elites. They employ people called gatekeepers. And Woodrow Wilson, who he was talking about earlier, that piece of shit, was a gatekeeper. Much of what we know and have come to know today is a direct result of his presidency. And, you know, before then he was uh, at Princeton University. All right, so he was in a good position to know certain things, and these are things he did not want to get out. And he rewrote a lot of stuff, and he let it be known too in the first video that Princeton waited until 2020 to come out and apologize for Woodrow Wilson's behavior. These people are full of shit. All right. This is why, for those of you who know who Dr. Cornel West is, he had problems at Princeton. All right. Yes, that Dr. Cornel West. All right. So these people are fucking demons, man.
Which is why I always focus in on the word complexion, because that is one of the only indicators that you will get when researching a lot of this material. So, who was Chief Justice John Marshall? This is what Google and many books say he looks like. However, as I am revealing to you, that is not what is written. Okay, so let me tell you about who John Marshall was. And I'm getting this description from Wikipedia.
I mean, once again, got to bring this back out because all this crap is coming out. Man, this is Luke 8. About these devils, how much they've lied. I mean, if you ever get a chance to get a book, it's called The Learned Elders. Crap. Hold on. It lays out the plan that they had from the 1800s, where you had Albert Pike. You know, all these world wars were planned out. Here it is, the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion. All right, great book. All right, yeah, it lets you in on a lot of stuff and it tells you in this book about certain stages and the plans that they have. They own the media. That's what he was telling you earlier too about them controlling the narrative. All right, this is what they do. This is what they have been doing. So like, I didn't mean to get so close, but I'm trying to close my bag here. So like, this is how they controlled everything. They own it. This is how a lot of you, because of their witchcrafts, I mentioned Isaiah in the first video, Isaiah 47, all right, and it goes into their procrastinators and, prognosticators and, uh, prognosticators, Salaki, and all these things, all right, they're used to having their way, but these things are failing them now, all right? These things are failing on the left-hand side, these things are failing them now. All right, so let's go back. Once again, this is Luke chapter 8, verse 17. For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest. The truth is destroying these pieces of shit. That's how it was meant to be. It says, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad. See, they don't know how to handle this. They expect Jake to come at them with guns and, weapons of war. And that's their blessing. They get a hard on expecting you to, that's what they want. But no, the truth. We're just out there on the highways and byways, on the corners, just telling you prophecy. All right? And you are so deserving of it and much more. And you will get your just desserts, trust me. All right, that's why I said also in the first video, this is a great time to be alive because, and I brought out Sirach or Ecclesiastes chapter 25, verse 7. Here we go.
Marshall was born September 24th, 1755, and he died on July 6, 1835. He was an American politician and lawyer who served as the 4th Chief Justice of the United States from 1801 to 1835. Marshall remains the longest-serving Chief Justice and the 4th longest-serving Chief Justice in Supreme Court history, and he is widely regarded as one of the most influential justices to ever sit on the Supreme Court. Prior to joining the Supreme Court, Marshall served as the United States Secretary of State under President John Adams. Marshall was born in Fort Greer County, Virginia in 1755. After the outbreak of the American Revolutionary War, he joined the Continental Army, serving in numerous battles. During the later stages of the war, he was admitted to the state bar and won election to the Virginia House of Delegates. Marshall favored the ratification of the United States Constitution, and he played a major role in Virginia's ratification of that document. At the request of President Adams, Marshall traveled to France in 1795 to help bring an end to the attacks on American shipping. In what became known as the XYZ affair, the government of France refused to open negotiations unless the United States agreed to pay bribes. After returning to the United States, Marshall won election to the United States House of Representatives and emerged as a leader in the Federalist Party in Congress. He was appointed to Secretary of State in 1800 after a cabinet shakeup, becoming an important figure in the Adams administration. Okay, so we all know John Marshall's role in American history now. Here are 3 different images of him from Google. Okay, so let's get to some of the evidence that I have to show you that John Marshall was a black man. So my first piece of evidence is from the book by U.S. Circuit Court Judge Horace H. Lorton in 1901. By the way, this book was gifted to Harvard Library in 1906. As you can see on page 23 of this book, I quote from William Wirt. By the way, Mr. Wirt was the Attorney General for the United States under President James Monroe. The quote goes on to say, "The Chief Justice of the United States is in his person tall, meager, emaciated, his muscles so relaxed as not only to disqualify apparently for any vigorous exertion of the body, but to destroy everything like harmony in his air and movements. Indeed, in his whole appearance and demeanor, dress, attitudes, gestures, sitting, standing, or walking, he is as far removed from the idolized graces of Lord Chesterfield as any other gentleman comparison with his height, his complexion swarthy,
Yep, there goes that
the muscles
swarthy
of his
again.
face being relaxed, make him appear to be 50 years of age, nor can he be much younger. His countenance has a faithful expression of great good humor and hilarity, while his black eyes that unerringly index possess an irradiating spirit which proclaims the imperial powers of the mind that sits enthroned within. Okay, so let me reiterate what I just read. John Marshall had a swarthy complexion, okay, not a light brown, not a dark brown, swarthy, and the word swarthy means black, okay, just wanted to reemphasize that. The quote also mentions that he had black eyes. Also worth mentioning again was the fact that this quote was written in a book from a U.S. Circuit Court judge that knew Justice Marshall, and the actual person saying the quote was Mr. Wirt, who was the U.S. Attorney General under President Monroe. Both extremely credible people with first-hand knowledge. Okay, so moving on to my next piece of evidence, and this is from a book entitled An Eulogy of the Life and Character of John Marshall, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, by Horace Binney, 1835, also located in the Harvard Library. Right on page 22, you can see there down at the bottom, I quote, "He was about 6 feet high, straight and rather slender, of a dark complexion," and we're moving on to page 23 there at the top, and it continues on to say, "showing little, if any, rosy red, yet good health, the outline of the face nearly a circle, and within that eyes dark to blackness, strong and penetrating, beaming with intelligence and good nature, an upright forehead rather low, was terminated in a horizontal line by a mass of raven black hair of unusual thickness and strength. The features of the face were in harmony with this outline, and the temples fully developed. The result of this combination was interesting and very agreeable. The body and limbs indicated agility rather than strength, in which, however, it was by no means deficient. He wore a purple or pale blue hunting shirt and trousers of the same material fringed with white. A round black hat mounted with buck's tail for a cockade crowned the figure and the man." Okay, so what I just read was Justice Marshall had a dark complexion, eyes dark to blackness, and a mass of raven black hair of unusual thickness. That sure doesn't come across in the images given to us in modern times, does it?
Nope.
All right, so the next piece of evidence is by his biographer from the Charlotte Observer newspaper, dated October 3rd, 1909. As you can see, it states, "When a youth of 19, Marshall joined the Continental Army. Here is how he looked according to his biographer. He was about 6 feet, straight and slender, of dark complexion, with eyes as blackness, strong and penetrating, beaming with intelligence and good nature. An upright forehead, rather low, was terminated in a horizontal line by a mass of raven black hair of unusual thickness and strength."
Of unusual
Again, you can
thickness
see his
and strength.
biographer is saying that he had a dark complexion, eyes as dark as blackness, and raven black hair. All right, so here is another newspaper clipping from the Rhode Island American, dated February 24th, 1834. All right, you can see the newspaper clipping which states, "Along the tribunal, covered with green cloth, you see Chief Justice Marshall take his seat in the center. You think of him as the author of the voluminous, authentic, invaluable, but not elaborate, polished life of Washington sooner than as Chief Justice of the United States. He is now apparently at the age of about 60, without any marks of infirmity in his person. He is a large, thick-set, and athletic man, with a grave, substantial countenance, of a dark complexion, and with no prominent features. His hair is of an iron gray, cut short before, and tied in a club behind. I have hardly heard him speak, except in interlocutory business, and probably in an undertone of voice. In his movements, he appears to manifest much of the Virginia stateliness and dignity of manners.
All right, I'm going to stop it right there. We got the point with Chief Justice Marshall. Let's move on. White in America before 1900. Let's start here.
Very important American institutions. I just don't want you to lose sight of that as I'm going over all of these important, prominent individuals. All right, so in this section, I'm going to detour for a few minutes to discuss a very relevant topic to my research. And that topic is, what does it mean to be white in America before 1900? All right, so as you can see on the screen, I'm going to be referencing a newspaper article from the State newspaper dated March 1914. This paper was located in Columbia, South Carolina. The paper was covering the contest in the 1895 South Carolina State Constitutional Convention regarding the topic of the standard of white person and prohibition of interbreeding with Negroes. Again, you can see the article on the screen I'm referring to, and right off the bat, you can see the main title states for needed reforms in South Carolina, which in my mind means some South Carolinians have been dealing with something for a while that they feel needs to be changed. They are discussing how to amend the South Carolina State Constitution. I'm going to read the first few paragraphs, which kind of sets the tone for the article. As you can see there in the first paragraph, it starts, "It is instructive to review the contests in the Constitutional Convention of 1895 over the standard of white person and the prohibition of interbreeding with Negroes. Some of us have forgotten and some have never known that this was recognized as a problem and was a subject of grave consideration and debate 18 years ago. To many, the whole question seems new and the facts when presented are surprising. Unfortunately, men take little forethought for the morrow. Thus, evil tendencies make great headway before the body of the people can be aroused to perceive them and combat them. Only acute ills move the masses. The prophet who would have saved his people can never get a hearing until actual suffering comes to prove the truth of his warnings."
And that is so true. And that's why we're trying to tell you, Jakes, you know, this is across the board, even though it's talking about a slightly different subject here, but this is, you know, universal. We're trying to tell you to heed our warnings about what's to come, but you fan your hand, and you mock us, and you're not mocking us, you're mocking the words, all right? You're mocking the book, the Lord in actuality, all right? But that is so true. Let me see if I can read that. It says, let's see, where did it start? Oh man, that's without vision the people must perish. That's Proverbs, what is that, 29 and 12? Somewhere in there. Future good is at the price of present self-denial. A lot of you are in denial. All right? The highest duty demands of the highest intelligence every personal sacrifice to safeguard mankind now in being, and I can't read the rest of it. But yeah, well, you people are in for. But this is just telling you that there was more to meet the eye. And these motherfuckers, a lot of the times, now we know I had said in the first video about what happened in the 1600s. There was a famous case, I can't remember it off the top of my head, so like it came to, in fact, let me see if I can pull it up. Famous, let's see how I'm gonna word it. Court case, let's see, 1665. What did I do that for? Let's see if it, here it is. Elizabeth Key Grinstead died January 20, 1665. Ironically, the Grinstead case prompted the Virginia Assembly to codify laws regarding racial slavery. In 1660, declared that from that point forward, all blacks held in indentured servitude will be considered enslaved for life. All right. Let's see. Is that the one, though? Let's see. The prohibition against enslaving Christians was also removed. In 1662, the Assembly upended long-standing English common law by declaring that the legal status of a child followed its mother rather than father. This is one that changed. All right. Now we know that it's supposed to be of the father. All right. But why did they do this? See, they didn't want goes to inheritance. It says the legislation established the principle known as partus sequitur ventrum, which made slavery multi-generational by ensuring that any child born to a female slave, regardless of paternity, will be a slave for life unless explicitly declared free. These motherfuckers. There you go. That's what I was looking for. All right. I just couldn't remember. Anyway, continuing on.
Nevertheless, statesmanship requires a studious search for the basic truths of present conditions and the calculation of their consequences, even to the far future, and likewise requires patient, intelligent effort to discover the remedies, to remove the causes of evil now and to come. Without vision, the people must perish. Future good is at the price of present self-denial. The highest duty demands of the highest intelligence every personal sacrifice to safeguard mankind now, in beginning, and to be born.
Let me look that up. I said Proverbs 29. Let's see. Hold on. I want to make sure I'm giving right information here. Wait a minute. Let's see. No, that wasn't it. Let's see if I can find that. When the wicked are multiplied. No, that's not it. Here it is. It was 18. Salaki. Where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. So I was 6 off. Sorry about that. Salaki. All right.
In beginning and to be born. Okay, so basically the speaker is bringing attention back to the issue of who white people are and how important it is to keep Negroes from procreating and from having white privilege.
There you go.
The author goes on
I
to
just
say
read the case.
to the issue that few men think about how these issues will affect white people, not only presently but in the future. This is evident when he says, and likewise requires patient, intelligent effort to discover the remedies to remove the causes of evil now and to come.
It's too late.
He's also saying, and I'm paraphrasing,
You're
"Be
done.
careful, white people. Take action now so we can safeguard mankind now in being and to be born."
You're done.
AKA future generations. All right, so
That's
next,
called a blood debt.
they move on to the topic of miscegenation. Miscegenation means the interbreeding of people to be of different racial types. Keep in mind, race has been determined to be a social construct since the 1950s. However, we are currently talking about 1895. All right, so I'm going to move on to that next.
But it went way before then.
It goes on to say, E.F. Taylor of Chesterfield proposed the following as a section of the new Constitution. The intermarriage of white persons with Negroes, mulattoes, or persons of mixed blood descended from a Negro is prohibited in this state. This legislature shall enforce this section by appropriate legislation. And then it goes on to O.R. Lowman of Orangeburg offering the same provision with the additional words before the verb, or they're living together as man and wife. And then they're under section, looks like 34, 84, looks like 34, I think. The marriage of a white person with a Negro, mulatto, or person who shall have 1/8 or more of Negro blood shall be unlawful and void. So here the committee rejected the aforementioned proposals and brought forward a proposal that used a 1/8 or more Negro blood rule. Right, then the article further goes on to say, this report being under consideration, George Johnstone of Newberry moved to amend by striking.
All right, let's stop there and let's move on to the next one. John Greenleaf Whittier. Let's keep going. Abraham Lincoln. I'm going to skip that one. You can look at it yourself. Walt Whitman. Hannibal Hamlin. Robert Louis Stevenson. Then it gets here, Illinois black governors. All right. Let's see. Here we go.
In Monroe counties of Illinois. It contains sketches of prominent and representative citizens of the counties, together with biographies and portraits of all the presidents of the United States and the governors of the state of Illinois. And this was published in 1894. All right, so this reference I'm going to give you right now is just as a comparison to the other ones that I'm going to give you. So on page 28, we're going to be talking about Thomas Jefferson, and it starts off, in person, Mr. Jefferson was tall and thin, rather above 6 feet in height, but well formed. His eyes were light, his hair, originally red, and after life became white and silvery. His complexion was fair, his forehead broad, and his whole countenance intelligent and thoughtful. Okay, so like I said, I read that description of Mr. Jefferson just as a comparison of the ones I'm going to read you. And Mr. Jefferson, obviously, according to this, has a fair complexion.
But there were questions about his mother.
This next reference I'm going to read you is about Shadrach Bond. In 1818,
Shadrach.
Mr. Bond was elected the first governor of the state of Illinois. All right, so moving on to page 114. Right there at the bottom, you can see it says Mr. Bond was of a benevolent and convivial disposition, a man of shrewd observation and clear appreciation of events. His person was erect, standing 6 feet in height, and after middle life became portly, weighing 200 pounds. His features were strongly masculine, complexion dark, hair jet, and eyes hazel. Was a favorite with the ladies. He died on April 11th, 1830 in peace and contentment. All right, so you can see that Mr. Bond is described as having a dark complexion with jet hair. Now jet, if you look that up, that means black. All right, so let's move on to the next reference, and that would be Joseph Duncan. All right, so he was governor of Illinois from 1834 through 18.
That's another one, Salakia, but it's one I really want to get into. Let's see. Does it say presidents, enslaved white men? Let's see. More black Americans. What? Wait a minute. William Randolph Hearst? Okay. I must have missed something. God dang it. That's not what I was. Oh, Lord. Don't need that right now. Let's see. What the heck did I do? Let's see. There we go. Whoops.
Through 1838.
What was his name? President. There was some question about his lineage. He sat in at a funeral of some Jakes, and a woman. Hold on. I may have to do it this way. He died under mysterious circumstances, and his wife refused to have an autopsy done. Let's see. He came after Wilson. Let's see. Oh man, because Wilson took sick. Wait a minute, black person. Oh. Let's see. Maybe they have him here. Let's see. Here it is. Warren G. Harding. Okay. Warren G. Harding. see. Let's see. Yeah, this guy right here. You look at him real close. Let's see. Yeah, he was after Wilson, and Coolidge succeeded him. Let's see. He died. Let's see. Oh, crap. Let's see if they're going to say anything about it. I doubt it. Death and funeral. He went to bed early one evening. Let's see. Later that night, he called for his physician, complaining of pain in the upper abdomen. Okay. Doctors gave him liquid caffeine and digitalis. Damn. Uh, fuck. Let's see. Mm-hmm. Here it is. It says Harding was. Wait a minute. Let me go ahead. It says that's good. Go on. He was reading at the time. It says those would be his last words. She resumed reading when a few seconds later, Harding twisted convulsively and collapsed back in the bed, gasping. Florence Harding immediately called the doctors into the room, but they were unable to revive him with stimulants. Harding was pronounced dead a few minutes later at the age of 57. Harding's death was initially attributed to a cerebral hemorrhage, as doctors at the time did not generally understand the symptoms of cardiac arrest. And then you giving them all that digitalis with liquid caffeine. It says Florence Harding did not consent to have the president autopsy. Yep. There you go. Scandals. Let's see. That teapot dome shit, and then let's see. Anyway, so yeah, there were questions as to his heritage, and on some say on a couple of cases he even admitted to it. But I'm trying to find. Let's see. Warren G. Let's see. Here it is. Warren G. Harding. Shit. Was said, I'm reading at the very top here, was said to have African ancestry, so they keep saying African. One claim was by his political opponent, a controversial and racist historian, William Estabrook, Chancellor. Chancellor said Harding's father was a mulatto and Harding's great-grandmother was black. Now they want to say, well, he had no black ancestors. See, you got racial heritage of 6 former presidents questioned. All right. Here it is. Black woman details ties to Warren G. Harding. All right. While others may view the stories about Warren G. Harding's black ancestry as rumor, Marsha Stewart sees it as fact. All right. No thanks. It says Mrs. Stewart, a 60-year-old black woman who teaches at a high school in suburban Detroit, is a fifth cousin to the 29th president, according to her family history. When I grew up in the 50s, my grandparents said it's okay to talk about it in the family setting, but it's not okay to talk about it outside of the family settings. Her 2005 book, Warren G. Harding, U.S. President 29, Death by Blackness, details her family connection to Harding. He was my great-grandmother's first cousin, Mrs. Stewart said, adding that her great-grandmother, Mary Harding Norman, and Warren Harding's father, George Tryon Harding, were first cousins. She traces their common ancestors back to the black settlers of Isabella, Montcalm, and Mecosta counties in central Michigan. Warren Harding's immediate family remained in Ohio, but other branches moved to Michigan, according to Mrs. Stewart, who said those are the Hardings from whom she is descended. My mother talks about Warren Harding coming to a cousin's funeral in Michigan. Mrs. Stewart said, when he drove in, everybody sort of knew who he was. He attended the funeral, and he left. She said she has been contacted by Warren Harding's grandchildren and great-grandchildren several times. They tell me they've heard rumors that they have black blood. While Warren Harding never really denied he may have had black ancestors, he said didn't deny it. He never declared himself black. When asked why she believes her cousin never did so, Miss Stewart said, because we live in America. To be a true American, you can't be black even though we've been here for centuries. That's just the truth. A lot of people passed. It's not a popular subject. If anyone cares, there's a movie that came out in the very late 50s. I believe it was 1959. It was called Imitation of Life. This is the second movie, by the way, with that title. The first one was in the 30s with, what was her name? Claudia Colbert or something like that. But this one was, what was her name? Alana Turner? Yeah. Excellent movie. Excellent movie. If you can, yeah, that's the one Mahalia Jackson sung at the end. And everybody was looking convicted as a mother. And there's a lot more to that story, but I'm not going to give it away. But anyway, I'm going to stop it there. Dang, 38 minutes. I didn't expect that long. But this has been a video on prominent Americans you assume were white. All right. I had to go there because you see this picture, the bottom rank here to the far right, where you see the Mobison recorder symbol. That's Warren G. Harding. So I had to go there. I remembered his story from years ago, but it just came to my mind. You know, that was a spirit just to go deeper into that. So, yeah, can't wait till this place called America just falls. It's corrupt. It's wicked. There's a lot of blood. Remember, that was in my last video, same topic, but the first one, where I mentioned it's too late. These devils can't repent. It's something called a blood debt, and that is Numbers 35 and 33, and it says, it's so much blood in this land. See, they thought the so-called Native Americans, they called them Indians, that means savage, but they were Israelites. That's Northern Kingdom, from the Arctic all the way down to the tip of South America, culminating in Argentina. Those are all Israelites. So you motherfuckers are done. Like I said, it's a blood debt. And how do you do away with a blood debt? There's only one way: blood. Numbers 35 and 33. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. So with that, shalom.